So today I'm going to show you how I make my Caribbean banana bread. And this is the first thing you're going to need. You're going to need some ripe plantains. They sell them at the local supermarkets. If you can't find them like this ripe, you can always put them in a paper bag for a couple of days. And the darker they are, that means the more ripe they are. This is what they look like once I slice it. And you see you're going to slice it. It's kind of about a 1/4 inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook these in this hot oil. This is vegetable oil. And you want the oil to be pretty hot because you're frying these. And you want to keep your oil medium to medium high heat. Usually when we're frying something that you want to be crispy, then you don't want to overcrowd the pan, which is fine. But at this point, we really just want to develop the sugars in this banana or in this plantain. This is 2 plantains of the size that I showed you. It should give you about 2 cups of mashed once you mash them. And so basically, we slice them and we're gonna cook them in the hot oil or fry them in the hot oil because we really wanna develop the sugars in these bananas because these are raw. These are not gonna be ones that you're going to eat like the regular bananas without cooking. Usually we would these are plantains that we cook and we eat along with whatever food we're eating. So if you're Caribbean, if you're Spanish or Cuban, you're gonna understand what these are. It's just a different take on the regular banana bread. It's gonna be a different flavor. You wanna cook these until they become nice and golden. Like you're gonna see they start getting a little dark on the edges. And I wanna say about 5 or 6 minutes just to make sure they're cooked through all the way. So if you have your oil too hot and you see that it starts smoking, it looks like they're starting to burn, then that means your oil is too hot. Okay, so you wanna just bring down the oil a little bit. But this is what you want it to be. So basically, if you're looking for a temperature, you can use a thermometer for your temperature if you want. So this is gonna be probably around 375. And you wanna keep it. So this is the color that you're looking for. So these are about ready. And I've cooked them for about 5 to 6 minutes in this hot oil, putting them in this bowl with some paper towel, because we want some of this oil just to stay in the paper towel. We don't want to put this in our bread. And once we let them cool a little bit and drain them for a few minutes, we're gonna mash them and we're gonna use them for our bread. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this potato masher. We're gonna take away all the paper, and you see it's absorbed most of the oil. And we're just gonna mash it in this bowl. You're gonna work at it a little bit because it's not gonna be like your regular bananas that you mash them very easily. These have a little bit more structure, so you're gonna need to work at them a little bit more. So basically a good tip is with these bananas or these plantains, you want to get it like this. You don't want it to get any lighter than this. The darker that you see that they are, the better they're gonna be for this type of bread because that means they're gonna be more ripe and they're gonna be sweeter. So once you fry them, they're gonna be even, they're gonna develop more of the sweetness. So that's really important. If you can get them, you're gonna see them even all completely dark like this. That doesn't mean they're bad. That means those are actually very ripe. So this works fine, but if you find something that's darker, that means it's more ripe, it's better. So this is what it looks like once we've mashed it all up after we cook them. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna need a few ingredients. Our wet ingredients today are going to be vegetable oil. We have some buttermilk. We have some vanilla, and then we have 2 eggs, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with the eggs. So there's your 2 eggs. And you always want to break your eggs in a separate bowl just in case you get any shells. You can take them out at this point. I didn't get any shells, but it could happen. So just whip your eggs up a little bit just to break them up. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is, in this bowl where I have my plantains that I've already mashed, I'm gonna add my oil. My buttermilk. My vanilla. And I'm gonna add my eggs as well. Beware that your plantains mixture, it has to be, you have to let it sit a little bit before you do this. Otherwise you're gonna have scrambled eggs, okay? So just mix this really well. And you can see that the plantain is gonna be a little bit chunkier than the regular banana because, again, this is a cooking banana. So it's got a little bit more structure. It's not gonna be as soft as your regular banana, okay? But that's one of the things that's gonna be different about this bread. So once that's all combined, then what you wanna do is you wanna add the sugar. Let's go ahead and add it right in there. So I've added 1 cup of sugar to the mixture. This is 1 cup of granulated sugar. You can actually use a combination of brown sugar and granulated white sugar. That's up to you. I'm just using the regular granulated sugar. So you just want everything to be combined. As you can see, I'm even using just a fork. You really don't need a lot. So now I have all my wet ingredients here in the bowl, including the plantains. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to add my dry ingredients to this mixture. And what I have here is a combination of whole wheat flour. I have a cup of whole wheat flour and a cup of regular all-purpose white flour. Some salt, baking powder, and baking soda. So you really just wanna kind of mix your dry ingredients a little bit, just to make sure you combine the 2 flours. You can make this bread with just your whole wheat flour only, or with the all-purpose flour. But I like the combination of the 2 flours. It just makes the whole wheat flour makes it a little bit more sturdy, gives it more body, and the white flour gives it, makes it lighter. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add that in here. We're gonna start out with the whisk, and then move on to the spatula. So I'm going to use my spatula now. And what you want to do is just combine this till it's completely coated. You don't want any sugar or flour or any of the dry ingredients to be separated, okay? You want it to be all combined, just like this. So it's completely combined. Okay, you see there's nothing that's not incorporated. And at this point you can decide whether you want to use walnuts or not. I have some black walnuts here, and this is a 1/2 cup. And so you want to add this at this time. If you prefer not to use walnuts, you don't have to. You can just leave the walnuts out, okay? You just want to incorporate it a little bit, because you want them to go throughout your bread. Okay, so this is completely combined. At this point, you don't want to mix it anymore. You don't want to do anything else, because you don't want your bread to be tough. If you use a machine, like a stand mixer or a handheld machine, you're just gonna overwork the flour or the gluten in the flour, and then you're gonna have a tough bread. So you don't want to do that, and that's why we're using this. So at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be ready to put it in our 9x5 loaf pan that I have greased with spray, nonstick spray. And your oven should be preheated to 350 degrees, okay? So what I've done is I've put my mixture in my 9x5 loaf pan here. Make sure it's all even. And we have to have our oven preheated to 350 degrees because we're gonna bake this for 50 to 55 minutes at 350 degrees. And what you're gonna do is at about 45 minutes, you're gonna use either one of these skewers or a toothpick, and you're gonna insert it in the middle. If it comes out clean, that means your bread is done. So, because every oven is different and some ovens may take longer than others. And so at that point you take the bread out and you don't want to overcook it. All right, so let's put it in the oven and we'll show you what it looks like when we're done.